Hello.
Okay. Hello. Did you need something? I forgot my gavel at home, but it wasn't the end of the world because we got Edo's. I hereby call this second meeting of the third session of the Iowa State University Student Government duly to order at 6 p.m. We will kick off the night, as always, with roll call. When I say your name, please say here or present. Agba. Becker. Bruick. Burks. Cecil. Dre. Eisma. Anglican. Etten. Frencher. Gopa. Hackbarth. Heidenreich. Holiday. Kamstra. Hewler. Mahoney. Margaret. Matthews. Mays. Moskar. Momini. Patel. Schnepp. Shivraj. Slade. Slater. Tansey. Thornton. Nope. Topete. Amvo. With that, we do have quorum. The speaker will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. There you go. With no program this evening, we'll move into open forum. This shall serve as an opportunity for students to speak about issues relevant to the student body. If anyone is here for open forum, please approach the podium at this time. If there's no one here for open forum, we'll move into adopting tonight's agenda. Is there any objection to adding Senator Dre to the roll? Seeing none, they shall be added. Speaker Mahoney. There's been a motion to add, what are the names of the two bills? Could you?
Seeing an at-large to the D&I committee and electing a senator to the student fees and tuition committee.
Is there any objection to adding those two bills to the agenda as reflected on the screen? Seeing none, they shall both be added. Senator Anglican. At the bottom of new business? Perfect. Is there any objection to adding the Funding Good Earth Student Farm Bill to the bottom of new business? Seeing none, the bill shall be added to the agenda. Is there a motion to, Senator Matthews.
Yeah, I'd like to amend that we remove 2022-3-003 SG, confirming the nomination of an at-large to PR committee from tonight's agenda.
Is there any objection to removing confirming the nomination of an at-large to PR committee from tonight's agenda? Seeing no objection, that bill shall be removed. Are there any other amendments to tonight's agenda? It has been moved and seconded to adopt tonight's agenda. Is there any objection to doing so? Seeing none, the agenda shall be adopted. We'll now move into approval of the minutes from last meeting. Is there a motion to do so? It has been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of last meeting. Is there any objection to do so? Seeing none, they shall be approved. We'll now move into committee reports, starting with Rules and Speaker Mahoney.
Rules did not meet in the last 2 weeks because we didn't have any business to discuss yet with coming out of Senate, and I'm still finishing up some stuff with the rough copy of the bylaws and Senate Rules of Order. We'll be meeting next week to start tearing through that rough copy. We do have two new members being seated tonight, Senator Cecil and Senator Margaret. So we will see a confirmation bill for them in a little bit.
Are there any questions for the Rules Committee? Senator Matthews? Seeing none, we'll move on to Finance with Director Claiborne.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the new semester. Finance has met twice. The first meeting, we had one line item transfer that was approved in committee. That meeting was 3 minutes long. I know. Then we're just preparing for the rest of this year. Yesterday, we just talked annuals. Annuals timeline has been finalized, kind of still setting out times for the help sessions. And treasurers and advisors will get an email tomorrow about everything because we have our first informational session on Sunday, and then it will be annuals until March 6th. Also in my Claiborne's Cash Cow for the day, there is a link for the name tag order. So if you did not receive a name tag last semester, or if you are a new senator or a new member of student government and you would like a name tag, that form is there. It does not tell you if you did it once, so I will try to make sure I look at everyone, but if you did do it twice and you want to let me know, just let me know. If not, I can go through it. And then I think that is it. We have 3 funding bills this week. We will see them next week in the committee, but if you have any questions, please ask. And then for my closing announcement, I'll kind of go more into the student legal contract just so we can get that cleared up. But yeah, any questions?
Questions for Finance Committee? Seeing none, we'll move on to PR with Senior Director of Communications, Haas.
Hi, everyone. Today on the agenda, you'll see there's a confirmation bill for a senator to join PR. We also have confirmation bills to seat the Director of Outreach and the Director of Marketing. We briefly talked about our plans for the State of Things podcast and for a mass email. We set up our committee teams and chat and went over the channel. We talked about After Dark karaoke for outreach. And then we made subcommittees for Women's Day, which we may seek funding for in the future, and the gaming tournament. As you may have saw on our Instagram, we restarted our weekly Fun Fact Fridays. And just to let you all know, we changed our meeting time from 6:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. So if you're wanting to join a meeting, they are now at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Are there any questions for our communications, PR? Seeing none, we'll move on to diversity with Senator Frencher.
All right, hello. We met last night and we did introductions as it's a new semester. And then we also have 2 major events coming up that we want to do this semester. So first, we're going to have a town hall like the last one so we can reach out to these groups and make sure that their voices are heard. And then we're also going to be having a funding event. So clubs that may not know how to reach out to student government and get funding can come to this event and learn how. So we split up our committee into those 2 subcommittees for those events, and we'll be having weekly meetings for those subcommittees. And then our DI committee as a whole will be meeting every 2 weeks now.
Are there any questions for our diversity committee? Seeing none, we'll move on to student initiatives with Senator Mays.
Hello. So we actually have not had a meeting since the pumpkin smashing event last semester, but that went really well. We got rid of most of our pumpkins, if not all of them. Otherwise, this semester we met for the first time this last Monday, and we kind of talked about what we wanted to do for the semester, if there were any events we wanted to repeat. And it looks like our first event might be coming up at the end of February if things go well. Otherwise, we have quite a few events for later spring, bigger events, but we'll have more updates for you guys next week probably, once we have a more formal meeting talking more about logistics of events and everything like that. So yeah.
Are there any questions for our student initiative? Seeing none, we'll move on to local affairs. Is there a representative from local affairs present tonight? Yes, Senator Margaret.
Hello. Okay. So yeah, unfortunately, we don't have any updates since the last time Senate met. However, Bryce unfortunately did have to leave his position as ex officio, so there is an application out for that role right now. So that's really all I have.
Are there any questions for our local affairs committee? Seeing none, we'll move on to sustainability with Senator Anglican.
Hey, so the updates for this week are student government alongside with the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences and under President Winterstein's leadership will be hosting the George Washington Carver Day on February 1st. Mark your calendars. All students that are available should attend the lecture and special event on that day. I've heard it's very fun. Blake's been working on this for quite a while, so you guys should show up and support him. So yeah, there will be more information coming next week about it, but please keep an eye out. Blake had a meeting with General Services with Ludwig and Albrechts to discover solar path lights. Sustainability committee started last week. They'll be every Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. So if you want to join, see what it's all about, reach out. Also, we have senator positions, so please. Also, feel free to reach out to Blake via email or Teams with any questions. And also, a very exciting thing that happened today was I talked to about 10 clubs at Club Fest, and it made me very happy because they were very excited about the opportunity of Green Initiatives Fund and gave out my email a lot. So I'm really, really happy and hoping for some really cool projects coming this way.
Last but never least, hello everyone. I have a couple exciting announcements. First, everyone congratulate Senator Kuehler on finally becoming the vice chair of my committee. They have been doing the work for the whole semester. I just finally got around to giving them the title. So you can treat them as my equal now. You can send them emails and questions, anything like that. We had our first meeting today. You are always welcome to come to our meetings. We meet in Memorial Union Room 2210, Wednesdays at 4. Open meetings. We had a great productive meeting. We have a lot of great new projects going that I'm super excited about. And unfortunately, we have had a few people leave our committee, but good news is the next seat can be yours. I'm still waiting to confirm the final number. Stay tuned for one of your many beloved emails from me.
All right, no one's here. We'll move on to comments from our advisor.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Happy first Senate meeting. It's your second week, though, but it's your first Senate meeting. I'm not going to count this semester. It was a time. Just to let you know, there is some super cool stuff coming up. Next week is Welcome Fest. Today was Club Fest. If you participated in that, thank you so much. I'm probably going to ask that we all do meetings in like February/March, just like one, just a nice check-in, but I'll have more information with that next week. So my inbox is always open. Please feel free to contact me and have a good meeting.
Are there any questions for our advisor? Seeing none, we'll move into comments from the executive branch.
All right, I hope everyone had a good break. Over break, the only big thing that happened was the Board of Regents breakfast down at the state capitol. So went down there with the leaders from the other two regent institutions, had an opportunity to share what's going on here at Iowa State and some of the priorities that we have as a student government going into the legislative session. So it was a great opportunity to talk with legislators, heard a lot of positive feedback about some of the priorities that we have for the year. So hopefully that turns into progress in legislation. Since we came back, we have made 2 cabinet nominations that you will see tonight. We also have 3 more positions open. That's the Director of International Student Experience, the Director of Affordability, and now the ex officio to the Ames City Council. Thank you to everyone who came to the retreat this last weekend. I thought we had a lot of productive conversations and set a good tone for the rest of our terms. Earlier this week, I also had a meeting for Big 12 on the Hill. So Senator Becker, Director of Government Affairs, Victoria Filippi, Vice President Ulrich, and myself will be heading to D.C. in late February to advocate for student-friendly policies on Capitol Hill. So this meeting on Monday was to lay out the itinerary and some of the objectives that we will be working on this year. The main focus areas are mental health and affordability on campus. So I imagine things like mental health grants, and then also the Double the Pell initiative will be large topics that we talk about when we get out there. Last night, I attended the Ames City Council meeting. Since we don't have an ex officio at the moment, main issues talked about there was the capital improvements plan that the city has. They are in the final stages of approving that. And then also budget hearings are next week. So if you just really care about what's going on in Ames city departments, you can go see their entire budget line by line. They have 4 budget meetings from like 5 to 9 next week, Tuesday through Friday. So feel free to swing by. Coming up, got a fee committee meeting at some point. We keep moving the date on that, so I can't really give you a day as to when that's going to happen, but it is going to happen. Got a SciRide meeting tomorrow, meeting with ISC executives, International Student Council next week, meeting with the new finance senior vice president that was appointed. They start on January 1. That's Sean Norman, coming from Nevada. Great guy, love him. And then got a meeting with FP&M staff to discuss the effectiveness of the solar-powered lights the student government bought 3 years ago, to find out if that's something that we want to invest in again. And then, again, I just want to shout out the George Washington Carver Day celebration. First inaugural one next Wednesday. Celebration is at 5 p.m. in the Great Hall. Our own vice president helped pick out the food for the event, so go there, have some of the food, and yeah, it'll be a great time. That's all I got.
Are there any questions for our executive branch? Seeing none, seeing no external matters, we'll move into internal matters, general orders, special orders, 2022-3-001 SG seating and at-large to Finance Committee with Speaker Mahoney.
I will pass my opening speaking privilege to Finance Director Claiborne.
Martin, so he could not be here tonight. He has meetings until 6:30. So I will be providing his message that he said, and also I'll speak on behalf. So he said, this would be my second year on Finance Committee. I have really enjoyed my time thus far and love being involved with student organizations on campus. I believe providing funding is a key component to student government's mission, and given the opportunity again to be on Finance Committee, I know I'll do a great job. Completely 100% agree with Martin. Last year, he kind of got thrown into it in the middle of the first semester, but seeing him during annuals, he knew PNC kind of better than me. Not sad to admit it, but he did, and I think that's something that will be very valuable, especially during annuals process. Looking at PNC and knowing it forward and backward is kind of what we need on Finance Committee, so I think he would be a great addition.
The floor is open to any discussion or questions that we may have about the at-large candidate.
Mr. President, I move to add Senator Holliday to the roll.
Is there any objection to adding Senator Holliday to the roll? Seeing none, they shall be added. The floor is still open for debate. Question has been called for and seconded. Is there any objection to going to a vote? Seeing none, unanimous consent has been called for. Is there any objection to seating this at-large nominee to the Finance Committee via unanimous consent? Seeing none, they shall be added. We'll move on to 2022-3-002 SG, confirming the nomination of a senator to the PR Committee was Senator Shivraj.
If the nominee would like to approach the podium. I've worked with Anna for a solid bit now. I think that she is overly qualified to be in the PR Committee, but ask her some good questions and let's see what she has to say.
Okay. I hope can y'all hear me? Great. Okay. Hi, friends. So I would like to express my interest and qualifications in the PR committee. So during my time here at Iowa State, I have managed 2 student organization websites. I have designed and ordered multitudes of merchandise and free promotional materials. I have managed a listserv and club contact with over 90 plus engineering clubs. I have designed posters and social media posts for 4 different clubs here on campus. And for the past 8 years, I have worked as a professional audiovisual technician and as a post-production specialist. All of these different skills and leadership opportunities that I've had here at Iowa State have really enabled me to kind of step into a role on PR committee. I think that my skill set and my qualifications make me uniquely qualified to be a part of it, and I'm really excited to be on it. So any questions?
The floor is open for any questions or debate that there might be. Senator Holliday.
Hi, Anna. Super excited that you're interested in PR as a journalism secondary major, so go you. I was just wondering if you have any ideas that you'd like to bring to the PR committee or any certain projects that are already going that you are interested in working more on.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So I've already attended a PR committee meeting, and I really want to get involved in their gaming tournament and the Women's Day, but I also really want to work on expanding their digital marketing. That's something I've had a lot of specialty in. I work very closely with the College of Engineering's advertising and Ryan Riley, who's the photographer and social media manager over there. So building those connections and getting the word out in digital marketing has been kind of my specialty, so I would love to help push PR committee in that way.
Yob. Question has been called for and seconded. Is there any objection to closing debate now? Seeing none, we'll move into a vote. All those in favor, unanimous consent has been called for. Is there any objection to passing this motion by way of unanimous consent? Congratulations, Anna. The motion carries. We will now move into 2022-3-008 SG, seating an at-large to the DEI Committee with Speaker Mahoney.
I suppose I'll pass my opening speaking privilege to Senator Frencher.
Yes, Sophie was at the last meeting. You can come on up. Sophie was at the meeting last night, and I can just tell that she's very passionate about DEI work, so I think this vote's a no-brainer.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sophie Dickey. I'm a freshman, double majoring in anthropology and international studies. I went to a PWI in high school, and now I'm going to a PWI again. I am very well versed in DEI experience. I served as student body president in high school. I also worked on many initiatives to become more inclusive within the Catholic Church that I went to, even going to the Vatican City to advocate for LGBTQ+ marriage in the Catholic Church. I also worked to recruit more minorities to feel safe and welcome in my high school, and I'm doing similar work here. I'm involved in DEI in my sorority, and also I'm a GWC scholar and a bunch of other affinity groups on campus, so it's kind of like my whole wheelhouse. And yeah, I'm just super passionate about it because I felt kind of weird my whole life being in predominantly white spaces, and I really hope that future generations do not have to feel the same.
The floor is open to any debate or questions that there might be about this candidate. Senator Keeler.
Hi, thank you for coming out. I think, quite frankly, your qualifications speak for themselves, but I guess I'm just wondering what specific projects and initiatives you'll bring to Student Government's DE&I committee.
One of the projects I'm working on right now is the Town Hall for International Students, but another personal project that I hope to accomplish in the future is I'm involved in honors, and frankly, there is little to no representation, and I just believe that's not very representative of all the very talented groups that are underrepresented. It's just a consistent problem in many groups on campus is that it just doesn't match. I feel like it's quotas, and the talent isn't being represented, if you know what I mean. So I'm working in more outreach on that.
All right, thank you very much for that. I yield.
Is there any further discussion or debate about the candidate. Question has been called for and seconded. Is there any objection to closing debate now? Seeing none, we'll move into a vote. All those in favor, unanimous consent has been called for. Is there any objection to passing this bill by way of unanimous consent? Seeing none, congratulations, the motion carries. We will now move into 2022-3-004 SG, confirming the nomination of senators to the Rules Committee with Vice Speaker Bruick.
If Senator Margaret and Senator Cecil will be able to approach the podium. So we have 2 open seats on Rules Committee, and so this is who Speaker Edward Riley Mahoney selected to fill those seats. I think they're both very qualified, and I think you'll agree. So let's yield to them to let them talk about their qualifications and whatnot, and why they want to be on Rules.
All right, well, thank you, and it's good to see all of you here again. Tonight, I've been nominated by Speaker Mahoney to fill one of the 2 vacancies on the Rules Committee. As you may be aware, I'm new to student government this year, but if you know anything about me, part of investing myself in an organization in a meaningful way is figuring out how it works. In high school, when I co-led a student organization, that meant I did a lot of optimization of our procedures, and I worked on a lot of sustainability documents, and I'm really excited to bring that same eye for consistency and sustainability to the Rules Committee. I'm also excited to work alongside the existing members to make sure that our system continues to adapt and work well for our needs as an organization. With that said, I'd love to hear any questions or hear from our other nominee.
Yeah, we'll have Senator Cecil speak first.
Hi all. I've been in student government for 4 years now, and most of that time was spent with the Supreme Court. I joined Senate last semester, as most of you all know, since you confirmed me. But in Supreme Court, I got to deal with a lot of rules there and get really experienced with understanding the bylaws and how we have to follow those. And I think this is just another step in understanding that better. And with me being here again next year as well, going on to a 5th year, sorry, that's just a stressful statement. But me continuing on, I'm hoping to be a senator again next year. I think it'd be a really good experience for me to be more familiar with the rules than I am now, just as a resource to you all and as a resource to rules this year and potentially next year. So, yeah.
The floor is now open for any questions or debate about the 2 candidates. Question has been called for and seconded. Is there any objection to closing debate now? Seeing none, we'll move into a vote. All those in unanimous consent has been called for. Is there any objection to passing this bill by way of unanimous consent? Seeing none, congratulations, you 2. The motion carries. We'll now move into 2022-3-005 SC, confirming the nominee for Director of Marketing with Vice Speaker Bruick.
So President Jacob Kane Ludwig has nominated Ethan Matthews to fill the position of Director of Marketing on Cabinet. So I'll yield over to Ethan to talk a little bit about his interest in the role and whatnot.
Hi guys, as you know, my name is Ethan. I just want to say first off, thank you to Jacob and Jaden for offering me the position and nominating me for the position of Director of Marketing. I also want to thank you guys for making all the time I've been as a senator has been fantastic. It's been like 3 months. It's not been long, but it's been fantastic, so thank you guys. So one of the reasons that I am going for, or that I believe I'm not nominated for Director of Marketing is because I feel like I thrive in leadership positions. So throughout, not only have I been in numerous leadership positions throughout my high school and college career, like last year and stuff like that, I feel like I've done well in those positions. So last year, I was my House President and my Hall Vice President and IRHA Chair, so I've seen the inner workings of, I've had to deal with creating graphics for our Instagram page that's gotten like 50 views maybe or something like that. So, but I've enjoyed my time on marketing, the marketing subcommittee so far. I joined PR very quickly after I became a senator, and I enjoyed working with Maddie, our past marketing director. I enjoyed working with Sundar, who is also on the marketing subcommittee with me. And so that's another reason why I would like to become the director of marketing. Some of the projects I want to work on, obviously I want to continue working on State of Things with Jacob, Jaden, Sundar, and Maddie, and Jamie, and I think that what we have going is good, and hopefully we can continue it on, not just for the rest of the semester, but hopefully we pass it on to whoever comes after. There are some other projects that I have brought up to Jamie, Sundar, and I think PR committee last night that would be really interesting in partnering with DEI was one of them. Partnering with SI was also another project that I had kind of thought about. So yeah, other than that, thank you guys for listening.
The floor is now open for any questions or debate on the bill as a whole. Senator Slade.
Ethan, I'm excited to see you up here, and I know that you've been doing a lot of work with PR, and you've been working on the state of things, and you have a lot of good initiatives. I am wondering, will you want to continue this cabinet position next year, so like the next term?
I have thought about it. There are some
No worries.
other, I don't know how to phrase that. That is a possibility, yes. And it's, yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave that. There's a possibility, yes.
That's a long time in the future.
Yeah,
no
I'm
worries.
sorry.
No worries.
There are so many questions up in the air for me right now.
That's all good. I yield. Thank you.
Is there any further debate or questions? Question has been called for and seconded. Is there any objection to closing debate now? Seeing none, we'll move into a vote. Unanimous consent has been called for. Is there any objection to passing this motion by way of unanimous consent? Seeing none, congratulations, Ethan. The motion carries.
Thank you, guys.
We'll now move into 2022-3-007SG, electing a senator to the Student Fees and Tuition Committee. With Speaker Mahoney. Oh. Thank you, Vice Speaker Bruick. We will move on to 2022-3-006SC, confirming the nominee for Director of Outreach with Vice Speaker Bruick.
So again, President Ludwig's nominated nominee for Director of Outreach. So I'll turn it over to Senator Shivraj to talk a little bit about his interest in the position and whatnot.
Just being up here, so you'll have to forgive me. I might stumble over my words a little bit. First off, before I begin, I'd like to thank Jacob and Jaden for the nomination, and thank you guys for giving me a good experience here in Senate. It's been fun. Most of you probably know me, but for those of you that don't, I'll give a brief introduction to myself. My name is Sundar Shivraj. I'm a senior in computer science with a minor in data science, and I'm before you today to hopefully be confirmed as the Director of Outreach for Student Government. There's two main things that I'm hoping to get done with the position. First off, I'd like to explore alternative events and activities that we can do as student governments in order to, in terms of outreach into our campus and our community, whether that be through our own events that we put on or partnering with other organizations. And second off, I would like to do some analysis over the events that we have done to be able to look at all of our numbers and see where we stand as a committee and see in what areas that we can improve in. And I'd like to get that report in, and most likely this wouldn't be something that I would be able to implement during my time here, but I'm hoping that the next Director of Outreach will be able to take my notes and implement that into the future. Since joining the PR committee last semester, I have found both a love for student government here, thanks to all of you around here at the table, and a love for this campus. And I truly believe that the work that we've done this past semester with the PR committee has been very effective and steps in the right direction. And with your help, I would like to improve this committee further and see all of this come to fruition. So with that, I thank you for your time, and I'm open to any questions.
The floor is now open for debate. Speaker Mahoney.
Hi, Sundar. I just wanted to ask two things. One, I'm just curious kind of what your thought is on outreach credits, because ultimately it's your discretion what does count as an outreach credit and doesn't. So I was just curious if you could speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, so I've had a couple of talks with former Director of Outreach, Jamie, and just kind of deciding on what I would consider outreach credits to be. And I've determined that for outreach credits, if there's any activity that student government is involved in within any particular committee, within just PR committee or sustainability, SI, whatever the case may be, I would count all of those as outreach credits because technically you are reaching out to the community through a student government event, and I will be doing outreach credits by hours as opposed to doing it by shift.
And then the other thing I wanted to ask is there any like outreach stuff we were doing last semester or stuff in the past that you want to continue to doing? I know there's been some success with like After Dark, but we're obviously not doing the After Dark that's coming up this Friday.
Right. So yes, with activities like After Dark and other things, if there is an expressed interest with the committee and with volunteers that we're able to get in, staffing After Dark and other things is very difficult to do at times, but if there is expressed interest in doing that, I would be very passionate about doing After Dark and other activities like tabling.
Is there any further debate on the bill as a whole? Question has been called for and seconded. Is there any objection to moving to a vote now? Seeing none, unanimous consent has been called for. Is there any objection to passing this motion by way of unanimous consent? Seeing none, congratulations. The motion carries. Now we will move on to 2022-3-007 SG, electing a senator to the Student Fee and Tuition Committee with Speaker Mahoney.
So I know I sent this email out late last night. We sort of had the realization that our former senator who was filling this position, Senator Go, is no longer a senator, and so somebody else will need to fill the position. For just a quick reminder of how this works, the floor will open the nominations. People will be able to nominate each other and nominate themselves. Eventually we will close the floor to nominations. That'll be a simple motion. People will go up, be allowed to talk. We can ask questions of them. We can also ask them to leave the room if we so choose to do so. And then we will vote and fill in the blank with their name and then vote on the bill as a whole. So it's the same as all the elections we've done in the past. I will quickly just say the Special Student Fee Committee, this is for the non-voting seat. And there is, I think, one or maybe two more. I think there's just one more meeting of Student Fee Committee, and it actually is to do with the daily fees and our own fees, as far as I understand. This is probably one of the most important committees that we fill. They help set all the fees, help set recommendations for everything. So anybody that is wanting to hold this position, there's a lot of weight and a lot of importance to this. So just keep that in mind.
And with that, the floor is now open for nominations. If you are nominated, I will ask you if you accept. You can say you accept or decline, and you can nominate yourself. We'll start with Senator Kuehler.
I move to nominate Senator Margaret.
Okay, Margaret, do you accept?
I do accept.
Is there any further nominations for the Student Fees and Tuition Committee non-voting seat?
I vote to nominate myself.
All right. Are there any further nominations? It has been moved and seconded to close nominations. Is there any objection to doing so? Seeing none, the floor will now close for nominations. Is there any objection to adding Senator Eisman to the roll? Seeing none, he shall be sat. I will now ask our two nominees to please approach the podium. You'll each have 5 minutes each, and we'll just have Senator Margaret go first.
Well, hello again, everybody. I very much appreciate the nomination, and I'd like to put myself into consideration tonight to serve on the Student Fee Committee. So I was unaware of this position opening until very recently, but I immediately knew, last night very recently, but I immediately knew it aligned strongly with the reasons that I joined student government in the first place, that being to represent students and their needs. In this case, that means understanding the delicate balance between filling important, often essential needs for students, while at the same time doing everything we can to prevent tuition costs from rising. Especially for students who may struggle to pay their tuition, we know that every penny we allocate does matter. This role aligns exceptionally well with my experience representing student needs through Asset. This year, I was honored to have been able to help allocate around $270,000 of student money, in addition to $4.5 million of other funder money, to provide essential social services for students in our communities. This means shelters, food pantries, childcare, needs that extend outside of our academic year and outside of our campus. I'm fully aware of the harsh realities that come alongside filling complex student needs with, unfortunately, often increasingly finite funding. And I have experience in making tough decisions when, unfortunately, they need to be made. I also see this role as an avenue for us to consider greater student input. That is, being public about the monetary recommendations that student government is making and creating a mechanism for students to share their needs with us. I see digital outreach as a potential tool to accomplish this and give students the opportunity to provide input which will influence our decision making. That being said, this is a great opportunity to create real, tangible change in the lives of students on our campus, and I believe my existing experience as a steward of student money through Asset uniquely qualifies me to take this new responsibility. I'd like to thank each of you for your consideration tonight. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Ashray Gopa, and the reason I want to join the Student Fees and Tuition Committee is because I worked Club Fest today, and it was kind of depressing. Most students don't really know what we do, and they think we actually decide the fees, and yeah, that is true, we do decide the fee structure, but if we have a better focus on the fee structure, there'd be a better public trust in the student government. Like, currently I'm working on a bill that provides free and that would provide free and subsidized tutoring for students if approved. Like, I'm still working on that, but in high school I led an organization that helps teenagers and students with their personal finances. It worked out pretty well in India, and I have a strong marketing angle, and that could help with the improving the public trust in student government and the Student Fees and Tuition Committee. Thank you for your time.
All right, we'll now move into debate or any questions that we may have for the two nominees. We'll start with Senator Kuehler.
Move me down. Speaker Mahoney was first.
It doesn't, I called on you.
Well, I guess I'll go first then. So, given that there is only one meeting left with the Student Fees Committee this semester, I guess I'm just wondering what both of your future plans are. Are you planning on staying as a senator? And if that's the case, would you intend on wanting to maintain your position in this committee?
So I personally, there's the microphone. I personally am planning to remain as a senator pending my reelection, of course, so that is a position I'd love to fill further down the line if it was something that the group agreed with, yeah.
Yeah, I'd also like to stay as a senator for next year and hopefully stay on with the committee if elected.
All right, very good. Thank you. I yield.
Speaker Mahoney.
So one thing I would like to ask, as the senator filling this role, you, in a sense, are becoming the voice of our Senate in terms of what we as senators and I guess our constituencies want to see as fees. And so I was curious if you could provide some input in how you would go about perhaps gathering input on fee structures and such from the larger Senate here, just whether it be talking with us in the office or anything like that. I think that's been a problem perhaps I've had in the past with some people who've elected a position and not getting that feedback of the larger group.
So yeah, that's a great question. Very much doing that in a formal and informal way is something that I'm interested in doing. So having those sorts of conversations one-on-one definitely has a lot of value. And that's a way we can gather feedback. But at the same time, I'd like to use the communication platforms we've set up to do that in a more documented way as well, so everyone's aware of the opportunities they have. And then to add on slightly, even though this is a little away from your question, I'm hoping to do something similar with the general student body as well. I think that they need a bigger say in how we allocate funding and how we make some of these decisions, and potentially using digital outreach as a way that we can reach people and let them know that they can reach out to us with input. I'm not by any means saying that we should put a poll up and make financial decisions that way, but it's letting people know what we're doing, because oftentimes not everyone's aware of the decisions that we make.
As I mentioned earlier, there's a bit kind of public mistrust in the student government, so I would honestly talk with a ton of students about any decisions made as a non-voting member, I would talk to the members on the committee to actually tell them about what students think about it. As I would also use our digital platforms like Instagram and Snapchat and ask for opinions, not for like, we would take those opinions under advisement, but honestly, it's up to we represent the students, so it's about what they want, not about what the Senate wants. As a representative of the students, I would honestly just take the students' body's position on the matter. Thank you.
Senator Mays.
Yeah, so might be kind of a silly question, but oh, my mic sounds horrible. So I remember talking in the office earlier about how there was only one meeting left, and I just checked with Kit just to make sure when it was. But seeing as there is only one meeting left of the committee this semester, I kind of wanted to ask if you guys were going to be available for the date, because I assume you probably weren't told it since this was just like given to us last night. But is February 13th, which is a Monday at 1:30 p.m., are you guys available for that meeting?
Yeah, I would be available for that meeting. My classes end at 12, so I could rush over to the place whenever it starts.
Yeah, so I'd also be available for that meeting. I have a class structure where it's relatively in the earlier morning to early afternoon, and the only obligations I wouldn't be able to move for a commitment like this is the obligations that allow me to stay in Senate and, of course, then be eligible for the committee.
Thank you, I yield.
Senator Holliday.
So, like both of you have discussed, our voices matter and our constituents' voices matter. And with that being said, it can be intimidating to speak when you are a student representing all of your constituents on a committee of adults in very high roles within the university. Do you both feel comfortable and confident in being able to speak in a new environment quickly and to be able to think on your feet to represent us all well at the meetings?
So personally, I would say yes. So to sort of go on what I said earlier, I'm a part of Asset, and a big part of that is making individual recommendations and then taking those recommendations to a larger group. And that's people from the city, United Way, Story County, that's, the mayor, right? So there's a lot of situations that I've been in where it's been, we're representing a minority of funding going into Asset, but we still have to have a say and do what's best for students. So I have been in those sorts of situations, and I'd be very confident doing it again.
I would also say I'm pretty confident with talking in new situations. Like, honestly, just representing the students in the best possible light in the meetings would be enough, I think.
Senator Tansey.
I'll keep it brief, but I met Quinn through kind of the same process as you all when we confirmed him for Senate and Local Affairs Committee. And I've worked with him in Local Affairs Committee and Asset, and I'd just like to throw my name behind him. I yield.
Senator Mominy.
Hi. This is kind of stemming off of the question that Senator Holliday asked about being comfortable speaking with people who might be above you in age or just class, however you want to think about it. She just asked in general if you would be comfortable talking about them, but I'm also wondering if you would be comfortable talking about the students who don't align with your identities, so underrepresented, minoritized students, and how you would plan to, reach out to those communities and make sure that their voices are heard as well.
Yes, that's a great question, obviously, and that's something that's very important. I touched on it a little bit earlier about how I'd like to use digital platforms to get feedback, because I very much think that the needs of students that maybe aren't in this room right now very much matter, and those that input should be affecting our calculus, right? So it's kind of a broader PR discussion of how we reach out to specific communities, but I definitely think that's a conversation we need to have so we're reaching everybody. And to be honest with you, when I received this email last night, I was talking with one of my friends of like, hey, what do you think about this committee? And he had no idea about student fees or how they're decided or anything like that. So there's, yeah, like you say, a large chunk of people that aren't familiar with this and are unrepresented right now, and that's something that we can address.
So the students that aren't don't really know about the student fee structures, I would probably do public surveys, like actually go on the streets, ask people about their opinions, like get a unbiased opinion of the student fee structure. Like honestly, most people don't even know how the student fees are selected and everything. Like I don't even think, is there a live stream for it, or I'm pretty sure there's nothing for that. And there should be some digital initiatives for it, make the student fee committee more accessible to students. Talk to student groups like the Indian Student Association, the NSBE, the MVP, and multiple others. Get their opinions too. Talk to clubs. Basically talk to everyone, because it's as the more opinions we get, the better our voice might be heard.
Is there any further debate or questions for our two nominees? Seeing none, we will move into a vote. We will do a placard vote. I will call out one of the senators' names, and please raise your placard high, and of course you can only vote once. So all those in favor for Senator Margaret, please raise your placards now. Thank you. And all those for Senator Gopa, please raise your placards now. Are there any abstentions? You don't have a placard? What was your Margaret or Gopa? Perfect. Did everyone get a vote in? I just want to make sure. Perfect. So 15 was the limit or the threshold. Margaret had 23 and Gopa had 2, so congratulations, Margaret.
Mr. President, I move to fill in the blank with Senator Margaret's name.
It has been moved and seconded to amend the motion to add Senator Margaret's name in the blank and is now reflected on the screen. Is there any debate about this?
Call the question.
Question has been called for and seconded. Is there any objection to moving to a vote on the amendment? Unanimous consent has been called for. Is there any objection to passing this amendment by way of unanimous consent? Seeing none, the amendment shall be added to the bill. We'll now back on the bill as a whole. Question has been called for and seconded. Is there any objection to moving to a vote now? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. Unanimous consent has been called for. Is there any objection to passing this motion by way of unanimous consent? Seeing none, congratulations, Senator Margaret. The motion carries. We'll now move on to new business 2022-3-001Y, amending the student legal services contract with Senator Patel.
So we talked about this last semester, just updating and actively reflecting the salaries and benefits. And yeah, I want to yield my time to Finance Director Kit Claiborne so he can provide more information.
Yeah, so as you can see on the screen, FY22 and FY23 are last year's fiscal year and this current fiscal year. Those are not changing. We just did those reflections because that's what the contract is. But FY24 through FY26 is the Memorial Union rent that we approved first session. And then also included are the new salary increases that, if you can scroll down, if you speak, Mahoney, The FY24 to FY26, on those are the new salary reflections. Any questions?
Are there any questions of intent at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to 2022-3-002F, funding Iowa State Equestrian Hunt Team with Senator Tansey.
All right, so the Iowa State Equestrian Hunt Team is requesting funding for an additional event.
Are there any questions of intent? Seeing none, we'll move on to our final bill of the evening, 2022-3-002F, funding the Good Earth Student Farm with Senator Engelken.
Yeah, so this is a bill for funding a very cool organization called the Good Earth Student Farm. They basically run an organic farm, and then they donate their excess food to shop, and it's a very neat idea. I yield.
Are there any questions of intent for Senator Engelken? Seeing none, we'll move into closing announcements. If you have a closing announcement, please raise your placard. Director Claiborne.
We're doing this informally. Raise your hand or your placard if you want Student Legal to come. If not, I know information, but again, if you want them to come, they can. But this is just a salary increase reflected by the university. Yes. Okay. Raise your placard. Okay, raise your placard for yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Raise your placard for no. Okay, we're going with no. Thank you. I yield.
President Ludwig.
Howdy. Good meeting tonight. Love that. We're out in under an hour. Two things. One, if you didn't attend the retreat over the weekend, I'd just like to give you a counter that there are 79 days left in our term. So if you have a project, if there's something that you meant to do this year, this entire year, and it's not done yet, I would really recommend starting now. Just some kind advice. If you're struggling at all with getting a project off the ground, you don't know where to start, you can come talk to me. You should talk to Sophie. And you can talk to Senate leadership, anyone. I really recommend moving as soon as possible on anything that you want to get done. Additionally, the Health and Wellness Symposium is on February 3rd, and our Director of Health and Wellness would really like it if you all attended. It's going to be an awesome event. So encourage you all to be there. Have a good night.
Senator Kuehler.
Hi guys, I'll keep this brief. Basically, I just want to plug that the College of Engineering has one vacant Senate seat. So if any of you have any friends in the College of Engineering that would be interested in Senate, please refer them either to myself, Senator Hackbarth, or Senator Schnepp. We would love to fill that. Thank you. I yield.
Yes, Director.
Sorry, I came in late after a lab. Just a reminder, if you do want to attend George Washington Carver Day after Senate, you have to RSVP by the 11:59 tonight. There's 2 vacant seats on Sustainability Committee at the university level. Please talk to me, as well as US Diversity Class Committee. There's 1 vacant seat for that. And lastly, just a plug, if any of you guys have above a 3.5 GPA and are really interested in just getting another honor society, Cardinal Key is looking for people. I believe all of you would meet those qualifications. I'm also on the board, and I would be looking for your guys' names.
If there's nothing else, I do have closing announcements. Figure that out over winter break. I have one thing. If any of you know of the World Food Prize, I hope you two do for sure. It's basically the Nobel Peace Prize. It's housed out of Des Moines. They give $250,000 to a leader in agriculture every year. The reason I bring this up was last night they just turned over the keys. The new president is past Iowa governor and past diplomat to China. Terry Branstad is the new president of the World Food Prize. That organization is very important to me, and so I thought all of you should know as well. But with that, Vice Speaker Bruick.
All right. Congrats to everyone who got seated to committees and in their new positions in the executive, although we will dearly miss you. I don't have too much. Just a few things I have planned for this semester. I don't think we're going to be doing, after talking with Sophie, any like working meetings like we did last semester, just because I don't know that there's topics that would sustain one of those in that format. But I do plan on, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have, it's the end of the semester, and there's bills that have to happen by law, and they're complicated and difficult and weird and confusing, more so than usual, I know, hard to believe. And so I was going to do a few little things on them, probably as programs during Senate, so look out to those. Mentors, I'll be reaching out, nothing big, but just, checking in, see where you guys are at. Mentors, meet with your mentees, do all the things. I think that's all I have, so I'll yield it over to Speaker Mahoney.
All right. If you have friends in the College of Design, Human Sciences, Vet Med, Graduate College, Engineering, or you have friends that live off campus, those are now our open seats because two UROC senators abandoned us tonight. Other than that, also if you have friends interested in Director of Affordability, Director of International Student Experience, or interested in ex officio to the same city council, those are all open cabinet seats as well. So we have a few openings for some major positions if anyone is looking to get into student government kind of late here. As President Ludwig alluded to, we are kind of in the last third of our terms here, last quarter, wherever we're at. I'm scared of that number. Help me. This is when the axe goes to the grindstone for a lot of people's projects. This is when things either finish up or you have to start thinking about how you're going to pass it on to the next person. If you guys need any help with things, as always, reach out to me. And President Ludwig also is always a great opportunity, as well as Sophie. Anyone that is a committee chair, please be adding your at-larges to the Teams chats, as well as adding them to the MIS. The MIS is now on Teams. And coupling with that, pretty soon we're going to be moving off of Google Drive. It's kind of in its last legs as it is right now, and we're figuring out exactly what we're going to move to. It's either going to be SharePoint or Exchange. I'm figuring that out. And then lastly, election season is upon us. Campaigning starts January 30th, if I remember correctly. If you are interested in running for a Senate seat next year, statements of intent are already in the office. You can just fill them out and put them in the box there. So I've already filled mine out for next year because I can't get out of this organization. With that, I don't have anything else to say, so move to adjourn. Go Cyclones.
Roll clones, baby. This meeting's adjourned.